Right, so in this video, which smart trainer did I panic buy to try and survive the coronavirus lockdown? And for me personally, that's going to be in my flat, so I don't have much room and it needs to be as quiet as possible. First thing I want to point out, if you're watching this video, is by no means is this a comparison video, because I'm a complete and absolute noob when it comes to indoor riding. I've not tried any of these trainers. In fact, the only indoor bike that I've ridden lately is one of these, a Stages spin bike at the local gym, which I use maybe twice a week, not in a spin class, just doing my own thing. So smart trainers, Zwift, connecting them all together, I know nothing. So this video is purely my journey to try and sort out a trainer and why I decided to do it now. Just before I start the video, my daughter is a very talented illustrator and she's just started her new YouTube channel, and I would be super grateful if you guys went and had a look, checked it out, maybe gave her a like, maybe subscribed. It's super difficult to start a YouTube channel these days because unless you've got 1,000 subscribers, YouTube doesn't really know that you exist. So I'll link in the description down below. I'll give you another little reminder at the end of this video, but that would be great. So just before we get into the turbo trainers or the smart trainers, I just thought I would actually show you a picture of a bike, because this is the video I was working on before the whole coronavirus thing kicked off, and it was basically about the Merida Sculptura versus the Merida Reacto. What's the difference between the two? And it was kind of kicked off by the fact I found these rather nice pictures from Bahrain McLaren of their two racing bikes. Anyway, so hopefully I'll get back to that at some point, but on to today's video. So where I am in the UK, we've currently started the lockdown process. At the moment, it's kind of up to people just to do it for themselves, keep plenty of space between each other, so forth and so forth. Problem is, not everybody's doing it. So at some point, probably in the next few days, the government will step up the process and it will become a lot more draconian. So I'm very worried about being stuck in my flat, won't be able to get out on the bike. So my brother texted me from McDonald's this morning where he was getting his last sausage and egg McMuffin before McDonald's closed tonight, March the 23rd, 2020, and the guy behind the counter said that he'd been told by his boss that they would not be opening anywhere between 3 and 6 months' time, which is absolutely horrifying. So this all occurred to me about middle of last week, and I thought I need to get a smart trainer and I need to get it pretty damn quick, because otherwise once we get locked down, the only thing I'll have is 20-minute booty shake workouts from YouTube if I don't have any way of riding my bike. So with that prospect, you can see why the panic set in. I did want to try and save a bit of money by fudging it on the Cycle to Work scheme. Some people had told me that you could do that in certain shops, but I realised I was up against time. There's no way I'd have sorted out the voucher and got it backwards and forwards, and so this is what I did. I thought to myself, right, what do I want to do? Personally for me, I think the Zwift system is probably going to be the best because it has a social aspect and I can feel like there's some other people still alive in the world, so that'll be really good. I want to be able to connect it to my TV because that's the biggest screen that I have in my flat, and I really need it to be quite quiet so that I don't awake the beast of the neighbours downstairs. So the first thing I did was I went to Wiggle and I thought, how difficult can it be to buy a smart trainer? I had no idea really what I wanted to spend on it, as little as possible. I had an awful turbo trainer about 15 years ago that was so noisy you couldn't hear yourself think, so I knew that I'd probably have to spend more than I had on that, which I think was about 100 quid. So I sorted the whole lot high to low and had a look through, and was absolutely horrified immediately by the prices of the expensive ones, and kept looking down, still fully freaked out by the prices of them. And then I got down to about here and I thought, oh, this one looks quite cool, and then realised that it was actually a £200 fan and thought, ooh, okay, probably not for me. And then I thought, well, this one here looks just like a lawnmower. How good can that be? And even that is 227 quid. And then I got to here and thought, oh, that's actually the one I had, or pretty much like the one I had, and it was pretty noisy, and that's 151 quid, so that's no good at all. So we had to go back up, by which point I was thoroughly confused and had no idea which one to buy. So the next thing that I did was had a chat with all my pals that ride bikes that I normally ride with. Obviously we did it via Messenger because we can't meet up anymore, and they had lots of great advice and they had lots of recommendations, but to be fair, they all had different recommendations, so I was none the wiser really. So then I went to YouTube and I typed in best smart trainer, and this video popped up from Bikeradar, the 10-way mega test, and I sat and watched that, and it's a pretty good video. The only problem is I was eating my breakfast and watching this guy for 25 minutes in his Lycra kind of put me off my toast. But to be fair, it's full of really good information. After watching that, I had 10 options to look at. So by this point I'd pretty much fully decided that I wanted a direct drive smart trainer, so that cancelled out the Saris M2. He did bring up something about the Flux S, but I can't remember what it was. This one got a pretty good review, so I thought, right, let's just go for this one. It looks like an old cinema projector, so must be good. Unfortunately, every site that I looked on, it was out of stock, so it probably was a really good one, or is a really good one. So I couldn't get that one because I was in a hurry. One of my pals had suggested the Wahoo Kickr Core, but I couldn't quite work out whether it actually transmits your cadence. Some sites I looked at said that it didn't, and then on another site I saw that it said there'd been an upgrade to the software and that now it did. So I was a little bit iffy about that because I couldn't be bothered to buy extra sensors and stuff, so I crossed that one off as well. This one the BKool Smart Airlight, I just crossed that off straight away because it looks ridiculous to me. It looks like a futuristic Viking ship or something, so that one didn't make the cut. Down to this row, I thought this one looked like a B&Q bandsaw. I thought that this one looked like a Star Wars droid of some description, and probably out of all of them I thought this was probably the best looking one. And I think when the video was made before, this was probably the most expensive one, but there's price cutting throughout all of these products on the internet, so it's really difficult to know what their real prices are. But I like that one, but I didn't want to spend that money, so that left the Saris H3. And the guy on the Bikeradar video, he got quite excited when he reviewed this one, had a little twinkle in his eye, so I thought it must be good. I then found this chap on YouTube, smartbiketrainers.com, and if you watch his video, he's also got a website where he does a pretty in-depth review and compares power curves with his own power meters and stuff like that, and he gives it a good review. He does say that the power isn't as accurate as he wants it to be, but that maybe it could have been mended in a software update. So anyway, generally the reviews were good. I was in a hurry, so boom, I ordered it from Rutland Cycling, and with their deal I managed to get it at 73999. Oh boy, did that make my eyes water. At no point had I ever considered wanting to spend that type of money, especially at this moment in time where who knows what's going to happen in the next few months, and I definitely won't be able to eat this if I get desperate. So it could be a huge mistake, or it might be the thing that keeps me sane over the coming months. We'll just have to wait and see, fingers crossed. Also fingers crossed that it turns up. It's due to arrive on the 25th of March 2020. Hopefully it does. So I sorted that out and then moved on to what is a bit of a minefield, to be perfectly honest, if you don't know what you're doing. And I couldn't help but put this picture in because this underwater minefield looks remarkably like a virus, I thought. So very topical. So Zwift, that's what I've gone through all this trouble for. I signed up, made an account. I then tried to download the software to my Samsung J6, and unfortunately it's not high enough spec, so it's not supported. So that was my first problem. What I do already have is one of these Garmin Ant heart rate monitors. So it's not Bluetooth, it's Ant. So do bear in mind that I had really no idea what I was doing here. I thought maybe I could connect it to my iPad, but then thought, well, my iPad is absolutely ancient now, even though it seems like I got it yesterday. I thought that's not even worth starting, so I didn't bother with that. So I thought, right, what about my desktop computer, which I make all these videos on? Quite powerful, it's got a good graphics card. And yes, Zwift runs on that really well, but there's no connection on it other than wireless connection, which these things don't work on, and the Smart Trainer doesn't work on, because you've got to have ants in them, apparently. I got one of these, a dongle. And I was quite excited because it said super light, 1 gram, and then I realised it doesn't actually go on the bike, it actually goes in the computer, so that doesn't really help me a great deal. And the dongle does AMP Plus and whatever FE-C is. I mean, could they have given it a more absolutely meaningless name to just confuse the hell out of you? I'm sure I'll get comments telling me all about it, but why do you need to call it that? It's ridiculous. And then at some point I realised that there was a Zwift companion app that probably I could actually connect the Smart Trainer to anyway with Bluetooth, but then I would have had to have got a new heart rate monitor, which is actually more expensive than the dongle. So my plan at this stage, because obviously I don't have the trainer yet, is Zwift is going to be on the computer. The dongle is going to collect the data from the Smart Trainer and the heart rate strap, and then I've got a Chromecast on the telly which I can beam from the computer to the TV, and then when I'm on the bike I can control it with the app. The only slight catch with that is there is a bit of a lag between the computer and the TV, and until I try it when the trainer gets here I don't know whether that will be too annoying. If it is, I'll have to rearrange the whole front room so that I'm looking at the computer rather than the TV. That'd be annoying. So we'll have to see how that goes. and next time I make a video I will give you an update and let you know how I got on. So anyway, fingers crossed that all works out. Everybody around the world, look after yourselves. It's scary times, but fingers crossed we'll all be out back on our bikes very soon. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please go and subscribe to my daughter's illustration YouTube channel. That would be much appreciated. Link in the description down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do.